What's up everyone, my name is Alpha, and against my will, we're doing a Pokemon challenge video instead of playing the new Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom game that I wanted to play so badly. It's actually 6 hours before it's releasing, I think, for me in the United States, so I'm very excited to play, but I have to get my work done. We still did a Pokemon challenge video for this weekend, so today's challenge will be, can I beat Pokemon X Hardcore Nuzlocke using only red shiny Pokemon? So we're going back to the monocolor runs. They're pretty fun to do, and honestly, I don't know any typings left for X and Y that I haven't done for shiny only, so we're gonna go for red shiny on Pokemon X, and I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. So let's run down the rules real quick. So to start off with, obviously it's gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke, so I can only catch the first Pokemon in each route that is a red shiny Pokemon. Doesn't matter the typing of the Pokemon, it just has to be red. When we're talking about specific colors, people get upset at me because they call me colorblind, but there's different hues and different variation of colors that you put on a color wheel, and it technically is red. You know, like an orange is technically a red in some regards, like if you put enough like pigment into it or whatever it is. I'm not a color major, and orange is technically a red, so keep that in mind when you're watching my video. Anyways, besides that, each of my Pokemon will only have one life, so if they ever faint, all that time shiny hunting will be gone because we have to box them and they will never be used ever again. And as well, there's gonna be a level cap to make things even harder, so the highest level in each gym leader's team is gonna be the level cap until we beat them, and then the level cap will jump to the next one. And of course, there's no items allowed inside a battle, but you can use hell items. You just can't use potions or healing items from the bag in the battle. And as well, you must play on set mode. And oh, I forgot to mention, so once per badge, so I can start with a starter Pokemon, but then after that I have to get a gym badge, and then I'm allowed to get my next Pokemon, just to make it more fair, so I don't stockpile a bunch of Pokemon and have a bunch of them. And as well, Gyarados is the most iconic red shiny Pokemon, and I banned it. We're not allowed to use Gyarados. It's just the most broken Pokemon possible, so we're not gonna use it because I would just spam it, and it's just not fair. So we're just gonna ban Gyarados. And as well, some fun rules instead of all the restrictions. Each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thanks so much for leaving me a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, I am not going to shiny hunt for a starter Pokemon. So I'm actually very excited about this prospect already. So we're going to head into Route 2, actually. Route 1 is a weird route that has no Pokemon. So Route 2, outside over here, we're going to learn the catching tutorial, which I swear even the new people who play the game skip catching the tutorial, because I'm pretty sure everyone could grasp the idea of what's going on. We're going to already start shiny hunting in Route 2 for our first shiny Pokemon, which is going to be a shiny Fletchling. Now, there comes some questionable red shinies right here. Is it red technically? Yes, but it's more orangey. But you know what? You just gotta have to let me slide. It will become more red as we go on. Just trust the process. But that Fletchling's gonna be our first Pokemon, and it's not gonna be too long before we get a second Pokemon, as we're gonna start training up our Fletchling and then head into the first gym in the game. The first gym in the game is going to be against Viola. Viola is going to be the bug-type gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Fletchling. Now, Fletchling has the worst move pool I've ever seen. It doesn't get Aerial Ace ever. I waited so long, it never got Aerial Ace. I'm not too sure what's the level for it to get Aerial Ace, but yeah, it never gets that or even Wing Attack, so I have to be stuck with Peck. But luckily, 2 is enough to knock out the Surskit, and Vivillon isn't too strong unless it used Infestation. And if it kept using Harden, I might have lost, actually, unironically, because Tackle wasn't doing too much damage. But the Infestation chip down was slowly getting to me, but eventually I barely beat the Vivillon with 7 HP left, and we double level up, so that was actually pretty cool. So from there, once we get our gym badge, I was excited to go back and shiny hunt in the Chandelune Forest. However, I thought back to it, I'm like, if I shiny hunt here, I could look for a Pansear, and the best scenario, I evolve it into a Simisear for the next gym. Now, the next gym is a rock type gym, so we'll come back to it. We can go out, get the Furfrou and everything. We found an 8 gem for Cut, which I completely forgot it was in the maze. We move out into Route 6 in the grassy area out here, and the reason why we do, there is a red shiny Pokemon out here that's way better than Pansear. That's also going to help us throughout our entire journey as well. The red shiny in question is going to be Honedge. As you can see, one of my favorite shiny Pokemon of all time. The Blood Sword is so cool. I catch it with the help of the burn on my Flame Body, and we're able to add it to our team, which is really nice. From there, we're going to move out and get Rock Smash as a move for our Honedge, which that's a little lame, but that's going to be our key to facing off against Grant as we clear through Team Flare in the Glittering Cave. all the great stuff, and then we're going to move on and face off against Grant next. Now we're going to face off against Grant. Grant is going to be the rock type gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Honedge. Now I specifically went for a Swords Dance so I could one-shot everything on his team, and I went for a Rock Smash, and the following turn I get Thunder Wave, which is kind of annoying, but I knock out the Amora in one shot. His next Pokemon will be a Tyrant, and I completely forgot he has Bite as a move. And I was very scared here. If I get paralyzed or I get blinched, it would have been over, but lucky enough I didn't, and Rock Smash doesn't even knock him out. It lowers his defense though, so I can go for a Shadow Sneak. Luckily I don't get paralyzed and I'm able to knock out the Tyrant, but things could have been really bad, I'm not gonna lie. We're able to beat Grant though, so we gotta move on and just forget about all the luck that happened. Now from there we can move out into Route 8, which is gonna be on the cliff side. There is a trainer that you want to avoid. This is actually with Dragon Rage that you do not want to mess with at all. So I just want to stay on this lower part near the town until we find ourselves a shiny Absol, which is going to be our next shiny red Pokemon. Now Absol is just a cool Pokemon to use and look at. It's a lot of red on it. It's more red when you Mega Evolve it obviously, but we don't have the Mega Stone for it. So it almost knocks us out with Pursuit as well. So I can't even switch out. If it does land another Pursuit on my Honedge and I don't catch it, I'm definitely going to run away, but lucky enough, in that time span, it only used Quick Attack, and it felt like it wanted to be on my team, so we're actually able to catch ourselves an Absol. So we're going to add Absol to our team and not add Pansear. So now from there, I don't really mention this a lot, but you want to actually maintain your XP, because your XP goes up a lot in this game. You could be over level easily, and because of that, once you're actually not at the level cap, things are a lot harder. This game could be a lot harder if you don't hit the level cap. And as you can see, this trainer specifically you want to avoid. I'm not too sure why I just walked into her line of sight, but she's very difficult. Lucky enough, I do have a Honedge to actually knock her out, because Honedge is probably like one of the better Pokemon to beat her with. But everything else, it's very difficult to beat her, especially with my team, not the greatest team. But from there, we also can go into Shalur City and get ourselves the Eviolite from this scientist. It's going to be stuck on our Honedge for the rest of the game, and you'll see why in a little bit. But from there, we're going to face off against Corinna next. Corinna is going to be the third gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Honedge, which is a Ghost and Steel type, against her Fighting type team. So Mienfoo does not know what to do. I get +6 on Swords Dance, and that should be the end of the battle, as I'm able to Shadow Sneak into the Mienfoo and one-shot it. Her next Pokemon will be a Machoke. I just want to see how much Shadow Sneak would do, and it one-shots the Machoke as well. Her next Pokemon will be her Hawlucha, which I'm able to not one-shot, but she's not able to do anything else to me as well. So I went for an Air Release as she heals up, and it's just a waste of time as we're able to beat down Corinna and get the third gym badge in the game. Surprisingly, she should have a Lucario, thinking back to it. More than 3 Pokemon, obviously, but she should also have a Lucario. Now from there, we actually went out into this route right before the monorail, and we get ourselves the TM for Acrobatics, which is going to be the best flying move in the entire game, especially for a Fletchinder and Talonflame. It's going to be very useful. Now from there, we're going to face off against our rival right outside the 4th gym in the game. I don't remember the town. What is the town name? Anyways, we're going to sweep down our rival. It's not going to work in the later stages as the Absol gets stronger, but we're able to sweep down Serena pretty easily right now. But from there, we're also going to face off against Ramos, which is going to be the 4th gym leader in the game, the grass type gym leader, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my Fletchinder with Acrobatics. We're able to one-shot into the Jumpluff very easily, and his next Pokemon will be a Go-Goat. I always think, I know he doesn't have a rock move, but I always think he has Rock Tomb because that would make so much sense. He doesn't. So we're able to two-shot him with Acrobatics, and his final Pokemon will be a Weeping Bow, which obviously goes down in one shot, and we're able to beat down Ramos as we're able to clear him down. Evolve our Fletchinder into a Talonflame, which I thought I evolved at 36, but you know what, 35 is cool with me, as we're able to beat down Ramos, get the 4th gym badge in the game. Now we're going to move back into Route 11 since we beat Ramos, and we get our next Pokemon. Now here comes a bit of shenanigans, you know. Firstly, we're going to cheat in a bunch of honey, because either that or I'm going to restart, but a bunch of honey. I think I gave myself 100 honeys, and eventually we're going to find ourselves a shiny Stunky in here, and technically, with my research, it was a lot more red in my research than what it was here, but eventually we're able to capture this quote-unquote red shiny Stunky. You know, it was supposed to be red. I'm pretty sure you guys know what Stunky's shiny looked like. It was red in most other games. I'm not too sure why it's more like a pink color here, but it's technically red. You know, it's technically red on the color wheel. But I suppose since we beat Ramos, and Corinna, and we only got one Pokemon. We get another Pokemon because of the stipulation. We can go out in Route 9 over here in the Spike Passage. We're able to search out in here, and this will be a red Pokemon for sure. We could go out into this rock pile, and the only shiny Pokemon for us in here is going to be a shiny Helioptile, which is Sunburn and is red. So we're going to catch it, add it to our team, very nice. And then from there, we're going to spend our time evolving our Pokemon. Stunky evolves into a Stuntank, which is supposed to be more red than a little pink, but you know what, whatever. From there, we're going to evolve our Honedge into a Doublade. Now, Doublade is red on its tips. It's really cool. It's a blood sword as well, but unfortunately, Aegislash is all black, and we can't actually use Aegislash. So our Doublade is the final stage we're going to have for our Honedge line, and that's fine with me, because I think Doublade was actually in UU, or NU at least, in competitive Pokemon in Generation 6, so it's a decent Pokemon, and as well, we have the Eevee on it, so it's actually really good. And then from there, we're going to move out into the power plant and then just start using Absol like crazy, because we have Super Luck, and Super Luck's just a fun ability to use on Absol, because it gets crit like every single time. Especially when you're using Slash. We're able to clear through the Team Flare members in here and then face off against Clement. Clement's the electric type gym leader in the game, and we're able to start the battle off against him using my Absol. Now Absol's able to go for a Swords Dance, which is not a great move. I didn't know that Emoga is going to outspeed me, but I'm going to go for a Bite, hoping for a flinch. He goes for electric terrain, but that should be fine as I'm able to bite him down and just waste all his hyper potions, which is cool with me. Eventually I'm able to knock out the Magneton, and then he's going to switch out into his Heliolisk, which I also evolved my Helioptile into a Heliolisk. I just didn't change the picture as I switch out into my Heliolisk. I'm able to Mudslap into him. I only have 4 Mudslaps because I forgot to go back and just I didn't forget. I just was too lazy to go back to the Pokemon Center. I was pretty sure that 4 Mudslap was going to be enough. I was wrong. Didn't knock out the Heliolisk at all. So I switch out into my Doublade. Luckily enough, it survives 2 Thunderbolt as I'm able to Sacred Sword and knock out his Heliolisk. And his next Pokemon will be his Emoga. I gotta be very careful here as I go out to my Skuntank. Luckily enough, I go for a Toxic here, and then I'm able to just chip it down. Eventually, I switch out into my Talonflame, which isn't the smartest move, but I'm able to just survive an attack, and Toxic would knock him out as we're able to beat down Clement and also get the TM for Thunderbolt or our Heliolisk, which really needs it. From there, we're going to move out into Route 14, which is going to be a decent route for us because there is one more red Pokemon that we want to get. A red shiny Pokemon in here is a Pokemon we use a lot. The red Pokemon in question is going to be Skorupi, and Skorupi, no doubt about it, is a red Pokemon for sure. We're going to add it to our team immediately, and then we're going to evolve it, and then it's definitely a color. I mean, I think it's more like a burgundy, a maroon, but if you translate that, it's like a dark red, you know? Burgundy and maroon is kind of close to dark red, so I think that passes, right? Those are definitely shades of red in there. So from there, we're going to move out into Shaleer City and actually get the Poison Jab TM. And then from there, we're going to face off against Valerie. Valerie is going to be the 6th gym leader in the game and also the Fairy gym leader. We're going to start the battle off against her using my very red Drapion, obviously. And we're going to start the battle off using a Swords Dance in front of the Mawile. And then for a second Swords Dance, that's a bit overkill. But from there, we're able to go for Bodos, and we're able to knock out the Mawile. Her next Pokemon will be a Mr. Mime, which I outspeed and Poison Jab, one-shots it. And her final Pokemon will be a Sylveon, which I go for a Poison Jab once again, and we one-shot it, and we're able to beat down Valerie. Get her 6th gym badge in the game, which is nice, and then go out into the Frost Cavern, face off against Team Flare once again, beat them down pretty easily, and then face off against Olympia in Anastar City. Olympia is the 7th gym leader in the game and also the Psychic gym leader. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Absol because I really love using this thing. So we're gonna go for a Swords Dance immediately as she goes for a Reflect, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for a Night Slash. Night Slash one-shots through the Reflect against the Sigilyph, and then her next Pokemon will be a Slowking, which I Night Slash again, gets to the crit, knocks her out pretty easily. Her next Pokemon and her final Pokemon will be a Meowstic, which goes for a Fake Out, which is nice, and then Shadow Ball, but Night Slash will one-shot her as we're able to beat down Olympia, get the 7th gym badge to the game, and my team is just crazy good. From there, we're going to face off against Team Flare in their own hideout and just clear through all of them. Like, we clear through all of them, we activate their secret weapon, whatever, and then we're gonna face down. And then we're gonna go back and beat them down in their actual hideout, which is really funny. I'm just moving around. This little 10-year-old kid is just going around beating up all these adults with my powerful Pokemon that I got starting my journey. From there, we're gonna face off against Xerneas, the Box Art Legendary, which is cool and all, we're gonna capture it with a Master Ball because we're not gonna mess around with this thing. Do not add it to our team because it's not red at all. And then we're gonna face off against Lysander. Lysander is gonna be the final team player boss. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my talent theme against his Mian Shao. 100% sure I could live multiple high jump kicks and hopefully Flame Body activates. He actually doesn't go for it. I goes for a Swords Dance. He go for another Swords Dance. I go for a second one. He goes for another one. I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to take a high jump kick right now. So I'm gonna go for an Acrobatics. I don't need +6. I decided to knock out the Mian Shao. And then he sends out his Pyro next. And then I decided to get +6 in front of this thing. Hyper Voice does a lot of damage, but I'm pretty sure at this point I could sweep down his entire team, as I'm able to Acrobatics and knock out the Pyro, and also Acrobatics and knock out the Honedge. And his final opponent will be his Mega Gyarados, which has Intimidate to start off with, and then he's going to lower my attack stat by 1 stage, but +5 Acrobatics from my Talon Flame should kill him. As it does, we're able to beat down Lysander and sweep him down, and he throws his glasses on the floor. And yeah, from there we're gonna face off against our professor and also our friends at the bridge, which both of them very easy fights, nothing to worry about. Speaking of easy fights, we're gonna face off against the final gym leader in the game. We're gonna face off against Wolfric. Wolfric is the ice type gym leader, and he's gonna start the battle off against us using an Abomasnow, which honestly I start the battle off against him using my Drapion, and the battle should be over like this. Like, I just Poison Jab, almost one-shot the Abomasnow. I really thought I did one-shot him, but once he heals up, I'm gonna go for a Swords Dance and then one-shot him for sure. His next Pokemon will be a Cragno, which I'm pretty sure I could live any move, as I actually outspeed him and Poison Jab to one-shot him. And his final Pokemon will be his Avlog, which I should have stayed in. I don't know, maybe risking it, but I went out to my Heliolisk, which is able to go for a Thunderbolt and 2-shot him, as he just sits there and use Curse for some reason. So we're able to beat down Wolfric pretty easily. And yeah, there's not a lot of trouble there. And then from there, we're going to move out into Victory Road. My mind's on autopilot mode as I'm just going through this dungeon, and this dungeon isn't too difficult. I almost lose my Drapion to this Alakazam Focus Blast. I was like, oof. Luckily, I'm able to survive that. And I kept button mashing. I thought this Umbreon was an Espeon, so I went for a Crunch. And it went for a Quick Attack. Luckily enough, it doesn't kill me, as a Crunch actually crits and killed the Umbreon. And I'm like, oh, that was lucky. So from there, I started paying attention. We actually went out and bought ourselves a Sea Instance. We're gonna give that to our Heliolisk, which is gonna be very nice. There, we're actually gonna go into the Elite Four and start our Elite Four challenge. Our first Elite Four member that we're gonna face off against is gonna be Malva. Malva is the Fire type Elite Four member of the game, and we're gonna start the battle off against her using my Heliolisk. Now this Heliolisk is learn Surf, and as the Sea Instance, I assume it's gonna knock out this Pyro. It doesn't. So this Pyro survives, and lucky enough, I don't have Dry Skin on my Heliolisk, so I'm able to take the Flamethrower pretty well, as I'm able to Surf once again. I don't know what kind of roll that was, but I'm able to knock out the Pyro, and then the Torkoal comes out. I'm unable to knock out a Torkoal. Heliolisk is not that great, but I'm able to eventually knock him out in 2 shots, as he just goes for a Curse and he just heals up. You wasted all the potions of Malva, and we're able to knock out the Torkoal. Your next bone will be a Talonflame, which I know can survive a hit, but Flare Blitz does a lot of damage. Jeez, almost knocks me out. Thunderbolt to knock out the Talonflame, and I gotta be careful here, as she sends out her Chandelier. I can't really one-shot it with Surf, so I went out to my Drapion and take a Flamethrower. Almost knocks me out. It's gonna 2-shot me, looks like. So Crunch better kills it, and luckily enough, Crunch does kill the Chandelier, as we're able to get away from Malva, because that thing got a little scary. Now from there, we're gonna face off against Yolberg. Normally I leave him for last, but I do have an electric type Pokemon, so things should be pretty easy. As I start the battle off against him using my Heliolisk, I'm able to go for a Thunderbolt against his Clawitzer, and I'm able to one-shot him pretty easily. His next Pokemon will be his 4 times weak Gyarados. Okay, we're gonna outspeed him and Thunderbolt him and knock him out. So that was pretty simple. From there, he can switch out into his Barbarico, which I'm able to Thunderbolt, but he goes for a Cross Chop. Luckily enough, he misses. I'm pretty sure that would have killed me. But we have to go for 2 Thunderbolts and just forget about all the luck we're getting. His final Pokemon will be a Starmie, which I just easily went for a Thunderbolt, knock him out in 1 shot, and we're able to beat down Sealberg. So from there, we're going to face off against a little harder opponents. We're going to face off against Wingstrom. Wingstrom is going to be the Steel type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Drapion. And I forgot to teach my Drapion Bodos, so that's not great. So I went for a Swords Dance in front of the Klefki. As it goes for Spikes, and I'm able to go for 2 Swords Dance. Yeah, 2 Swords Dance and then 2 Crunches would knock out the Klefki, as I actually get low on HP from the Klefki. Kind of annoying. But from there, I could go for a Crunch and knock the Probopass down on low HP. And Drapion gets hit with an Earth Power. It lives with 2 HP this time, and I'm getting very lucky. I know it's going to go for a heal, so I went for a Crunch again. And it's stuck in this situation where if it stops healing, I'm going to knock him out. So we're able to get a free kill on the Probopass, but Drapion gets very lucky at the low HP mark. From there, he's gonna switch out into his Aegislash, and I didn't know what to do, honestly. I went out into my Skunk Tank because I didn't have a move, honestly. I get hit with spikes, and then he goes for an Iron Head, which does so much damage to me, which two-shots me. Lucky enough, he doesn't go for a King Shield here, as I'm able to go for a Night Slash and break through his Sword mode, one-shot him because he's dumb. If he went for a King Shield, I'm pretty sure he would take at least one more Pokemon. From there, he switched out into his Scizor, which is his final Pokemon. I went out to my Doublade, which does have Evilade on, but look at all the damage. He goes for a Night Slash, it does a lot of damage. I go for a Swords Dance, and 2 Sacred Swords would knock him out as long as he doesn't get a crit on his Night Slash, and he does not. As we're able to Sacred Sword and knock out the Scizor, and we're able to beat down Wingstrom. That was a little risky, I'm not gonna lie. From there, we're going to face off against Draston next. Draston is going to be the Dragon type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Absol because I haven't used this my entire Elite Four run. I went for a Swords Dance, and it goes for a Sludge Bomb and poisons me. Of course it does. Of course it has to poison me. I would have stayed in and went for a Psycho Cut and then, you know, maybe swept her entire team. But a Psycho Cut would knock out the Dragolich as we're forced to switch out against the Altaria. I switched out into my Drapion against the Altaria, and it kept using Dragon Pulse against me. I get a free Swords Dance off, and then it sings for no reason. So I'm able to Poison Jab in the following turn and knock out the Altaria as she just basically hands me the battle. That's what I thought. As she switched out into her Noivern and I'm unable to knock her out. She knocked me down to low HP as I switch out into my Heliolisk, which she heals up, which is kind of annoying, but I'm able to survive. I'm able to go for a Thunderbolt and paralyze it, and then from there I outspeed a Noivern. I'm able to two-shot him, and the final Pokemon on her team will be a Druddigon, which does have revenge, so I gotta be very careful. I switch out into my Skunk Tank. Skunk Tank's able to go for a Poison Jab and get Rough Skin. Toxic eventually knocks him down to low HP. I do not want to have my Drapion out here as this Druddigon kept using Dragon Tail. It's kind of annoying, but eventually I'm dragged out into my Doublade, which will outspeed him, and Iron Head would knock out the Druddigon as we're able to beat down Drasna, which is very nice for us. And now from there, we're going to face off against the final Elite Four member of the game. We're going to face off against Diantha. Diantha is the champion of Kalos, and we're going to start the battle off against us using my Doublade. We're going to go for 3 Swords Dance in front of the Hawlucha as it goes for an X-Scissor and crits me for 6 damage. This thing is over. We are going to sweep her. We get +6 on my Doublade. That was a little overkill, I'm not gonna lie. But Shadow Sneak, revenge time. Throwback to the Corona fight where I wasn't able to one-shot the Hawlucha with Shadow Sneak. I'm able to one-shot it this time as we're able to beat down the Hawlucha. Her next Pokemon will be her Goodra. She went for a Shadow Sneak, knock him out pretty easily. So okay, Goodra goes down. Her next Pokemon will be a Tyrantrum. I'm pretty sure I can't knock him out with a Shadow Sneak. So I went for a Sacred Sword. I take a crunch and lower my defense for that, but I'm able to one-shot the Tyrantrum. Her next Pokemon will be a Gourgeist, which obviously I outspeed with Shadow Sneak to one-shot it. And her final Pokemon will be an Aurorus, which I know I can outspeed. So I went for an Iron Head, one-shot it pretty easily. And her final Pokemon will be a Gardevoir, which I'm going to outspeed and Shadow Sneak to one-shot the Gardevoir as we're able to beat down Diantha, as it's pretty easy out here, right? Just sweep down her entire team with not a fully evolved Pokemon. So at the end of the day, we became champion of Kalos, and we beat the entire game using only red shiny Pokemon. Now, your definition of red might be different from mine, but at the end of the day, we still beat the challenge. I really should have just cut this part out, but against AZ, I was just kind of button mashing trying to get over this fight, but I got burnt by this Torkoal and then forgot that how burnt works, and my Drapion went down. So I'm like, do I have to add that? I mean, this is technically just a bonus fight, no? So I had to manually add that to my layout. So I do have 1 death at the end of the game somehow, just because I was messing around with AZ. So yeah, I didn't have to show that, but I just kind of thought it was funny. But anyways, that'll be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.